critics, and I care what you think. Wish we could turn back time to the good old days when the mama sang us to sleep, but now we're stressed out. Wish we could turn back time to the good old days when the mama sang us to sleep, but now we're stressed out. We're stressed out.
Hey, what's up, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer 55551, and I am back with my 2-cent video this time around. Okay, I am working on a video game review for a game, though. Hopefully we'll try to film it tomorrow. Hopefully either have it up, either by the end of Saturday, have it up maybe by Sunday, though. So still working on that. But for this video, I'm going to be talking about 3 things for this special My 2 Cent video. I'm going to talk about FireForge going out of business after just releasing the Ghostbusters video game, Rotten Tomato and Change.org, and I'll get to those. But first, I want to talk about, I just came back from the theaters and I just saw Suicide Squad, okay? Now, as some of you may have been aware of, this movie has sort of generated a lot of negative reviews, though, that has come out from it, from critics and everything. And I just came back and saw it. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm not a perfect film critic or anything like that, but I am going to say this, though. While the movie is not perfect by any chance, though, it is not as bad as critics claim it is, okay? It is not this giant train wreck as many people have come out to tell you that it is, and so on, though. I mean, there are a lot of highlights, and there are some things I do like, and there are some certain parts I dislike, though. I mean, first off, I want to say the casting was perfect. I really liked the cast in it. The person who played Harley Quinn, I believe her name's Maggie Robinson. Pardon me if I'm saying the name wrong, okay? I may not be great at saying people's names right, though. But I will say, to me, she was kind of the highlight of it, because one of the things I remember growing up watching, the Batman the Animated Series as a kid, though, seeing Harley Quinn for the first time. So seeing her play as Harley Quinn put a smile on my face and made me feel like I was watching the Batman the Animated Series again. And I have to say, she nailed it. It's like she seriously nailed the role perfectly. I love when she said pudding and, Mr. J, hey, Mr. J. Not the best impression, though, but I have to say that it was definitely nice. I definitely say that she did a great job playing her, playing as Harley Quinn. I think Jared Leto, again, if I'm not saying the name correctly, though, pardon me if I'm not saying it right in any way, though, I have to say, as far as him playing the Joker, I have to say that Joker was very interesting, and I was very pleased with the way he portrayed the Joker and so on. And I have to say that while I don't see him like dethroning, the late Heath Ledger with the Joker in The Dark Knight, I still think that's the best Joker out there. My personal opinion, though. I have to say I definitely still enjoyed this Joker, nevertheless. Though I thought he did a good job portraying him, though, and I am open to hopefully seeing more of him, maybe in the upcoming solo Batman movie, though. All right. I definitely would like to see him again. Will Smith's playing Deadshot, though. I thought Will Smith, of course, did a great job. The other cast, people who played Killer Croc, Boomerang, I enjoyed them as well. Not as much as Harley Quinn or Deadshot, which I think those two stole the show, though. I do have to say, one of the things I thought was very interesting was how they humanize some of these villains, though, that they showed they have sort of a soft side, a little bit of it, and showed a little bit of them, they're not like full-on bad guys, like, say, for example, I don't know, like the Red Skull from the Captain America series, like ultimately wants to take over the world, or Ganondorf from The Legend of Zelda, who's, ultimate world domination, all that stuff. They show a bit of the human side of some of these characters. And also Katana as well, too. So I did really like that, though, and I have to say I definitely enjoyed the film, though. If there's any criticism I have with the movie, though. I will say, as far as the plot goes, I'm not saying the plot's bad. It's by any chance, by all means, not bad. I have nothing wrong with the plot or anything like that. At the same time, I did feel like the way the plot was heading, it did, in a way, it almost felt like I was watching the Avengers movie again, though, to a certain degree. Or, if I really want to go there, Ghostbusters 2016, which I don't think anyone wants to go there, though, alright? So, I will say the plot, it's not original. I won't say, to me, it's not original, but not saying it's bad either. It's still an entertaining flick, nevertheless, because I think the cast handled their characters so well that more than makes up for it, though. Again, enjoy the cast, too. I mean, Diablo as well, though. So, I will say that I definitely came away pleased with this movie. It definitely is not, I won't say, how do I explain this, though, in a way? I mean, I won't say it's, shoot. Okay. Personally, in other words, I think this movie was not as bad as critics claim it was. I think it was entertaining, though. And as far as a DC movie goes, and again, I'm comparing this with other DC movies. I'm not trying to compare this with Marvel. That's a stupid thing to do. This is just compared to DC movies. I have to say that it's definitely one of DC's better movies, okay? I won't say it dethrones, say, like, Man of Steel, which I still think is a very good DC movie, though. But it's certainly not as bad or god-awful as some of the other DC movies, like 2004's Catwoman, ugh, that was bad, or 2011's Green Lantern in any way. So it certainly isn't as bad as, though. And and I definitely enjoyed the concept, of sort of like an evil version of, like Justice League / Avengers, though. And, ironically, I would be open to seeing a sequel to this. I really would. I would definitely be open to seeing a sequel to the Suicide Squad again, though. Will we get it? Who knows? But I am hoping it does well, though. I do think that, in a way, it kind of sets a little bit of the direction they want to go with the DC Cinematic Universe, though. I do think they should, in my opinion, maintain the dark theme, though, but I think they need to balance it out a little bit. I mean, yes, add some humor, make it a little bit comic book-y like, but still keep that dark tone. I think that was one of the things I liked about the Man of Steel, and one of the things I liked about this movie as well, okay? I'm not saying they have to copy everything Marvel does, okay? I'm not saying they have to do anything like that, but I do think they need to sort of balance it out. I think they need to do, hopefully Suicide Squad will be sort of the step in that right direction, in my opinion. I will say another criticism is that it's going to be interesting to see what happens when the DVD and Blu-ray comes out, if we're going to get an Ultimate Edition. Some people are pointing to that we will see that, though, but remains to be seen at this moment if we're going to get something like that, though. But bottom line is, I enjoyed Suicide Squad. I don't think it will dethrone my personal favorite DC movie so far, like The Dark Knight or even Man of Steel, but I still think it was an enjoyable movie, though. And I do hope that it does well at the box office and send us a message to Warner Bros. And DC that they are getting their act together, though. My concerns I do have with DC, though, is that I do feel that to some degree they are kind of rushing a little bit too quickly because they're trying to play catch-up to Marvel. I mean, for Marvel's case, though, this took years and years to plan, though. So I am a little worried. So hopefully that's not the case. And another criticism I will say, and this is my opinion on this, though, but I will say that I like the approach Marvel did in terms of connecting everything, like, say, their TV shows, the movies and all that. So I thought I liked their approach more than DC's approach in terms of separating their shows and TVs and all. But nevertheless, I'm still hopeful for the DC Cinematic Universe. I'm hoping this film does well enough that sends a message to DC that you have the right approach. You just need to balance, your editing and maybe your writing a little bit and not rush too quickly just to beat Marvel or anything like that, okay? So good on Suicide Squad. Hopefully this will set the tone. Hopefully with, I think Ben Affleck acting executive producer, and I think some of the writers for DC are now on board on the film side. Hopefully this will give the jumpstart DC cinematic universe needs to. And I have to say, in terms of this, between this and Batman vs. Superman, I don't hate Batman vs. Superman. I still enjoy this movie, but I will agree that I did find this one to be more interesting than Batman vs. Superman, though, okay? Again, I'm probably one of the few people who didn't hate Batman vs. Superman, but other people did. So, bottom line is, Suicide Squad is not as terrible as the critics are saying it is, okay? And that's sort of my take on that one, all right? Okay, I'm going to take a little break. When we get back, I'm going to do part 2, where I'm going to be talking about the Rotten Tomato and how this has connected with, Suicide Squad in a way and way not. So we'll take a little break and we'll be right back for that one. Okay, and we are back, and we're going to be going into part 2 of our My 2 Cent video. For this one, I'm going to talk about a petition that has recently popped up on change.org about shutting down Rotten Tomato. I'll have a link in the description, though. And, of course, the counter petition to ask to shut that petition down on Rotten Tomato. Yeah, it exists, though. Okay, here's the thing. Anytime I take Rotten Tomato and Metacritic with a bit of grain of salt, because every time I read some of these reviews, though, I'm a little cautious about them, because sometimes I don't run with them. I don't use them as their only means to see the movie. Sometimes I'll go to the theaters and see it myself, or even with a video game for that matter. I'll see it myself, play it myself before I make a decision, though. I mean, I remember critics ripping apart Pixel, and when I went to see it, I thought, it wasn't as bad as people claimed it was, though. I mean, some people think I was nuts for seeing it, but hey, what do you know? I think I like some of Adam Sandler's movies, okay? I think there are some good ones and bad ones as well, all right? And the thing is, with Rotten Tomato and Metacritic and even Amazon user reviews as well, though, is that I'm not against them completely. I do think that it's great to get user reviews and users' response outside of the critics, because sometimes critics can be wrong, though. I'm not saying dismissing all critics. I think there are some that are good, but there are some that are way off on their reviews. However, at the same time, a lot of user reviews can also end up where you're basically seeing a lot of trolling going on. I mean, Amazon has plenty of trolls, okay? I've seen them before. I remember one person giving Uncharted 1 star because he was complaining about a scene in Uncharted 4, Uncharted 4, Thief's End. I almost said Drake's Fortune by mistake, though. A scene where he's playing with like a toy gun up in the basement of the house, pretending that he was, back in the other Uncharted games, and saying that he needs to grow up and all that stuff. I remember a person giving Doom 4 and Uncharted. I remember a person giving Doom 4 a 1 star because the fact that he thinks Call of Duty was better than Doom 4 and didn't give any reason. He did the same thing with Uncharted 4 as well. Another person gave it 1 star because he wanted to give his son a game because he did well on his homework, though, and, well, he couldn't because it was M-rated and all that stuff. Hell, I remember Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for the Wii U, a fun 2D platform, for example. One person gave it 1 star because, basically, there's a gorilla named Donkey. That's it. And that's the one reason, and the fact that Donkey Kong wears a tie. To another person who went out of his way saying that this goes against creation or something like that. And if you don't believe in Jesus Christ, you're going to burn in hell and all that stuff. Wasting an Amazon review on that. Should have typed in, well, you know what? I'm Jewish. We don't believe in hell, and I'll take my chances. I wish I could have wrote that. Of course, the best one has to do with the Skyward Sword one, where someone gave it 1 star because it did not work on their PS3, though. Now, I hope that person was trolling, because if that turns out to be that person wasn't trolling, I am more than willing to get a roll-up newspaper or roll-up issues of Nintendo Power, and more than willing to smack that individual across the head, though. Big time. So, while I agree that Rotten Tomato... So, anyway, the point is, while I agree that Rotten Tomato and Metacritic, I mean, some people will use it to troll, or some people take it way too seriously, and I do think that is true. I don't support this petition, okay? Now, and for me, and there's here's a reason why. I'm not against change.org or online petitions. I think there are some good out of it, though. I've signed numerous petitions based on what the causes are, though. But at the same time, just like with user reviews, though, for every petition, just like with user reviews, like for every review that's honest and trustworthy, there are plenty that are trolling, though. Same thing with change.org petitions. For every petition that makes sense and is for a worthy good cause, there are plenty that I have seen that have basically been downright to trolling. It's not like, why does this exist? I mean, I saw one where someone asked Nintendo to basically show us Mario's dick. For what reason? I mean, it's like, you waste, change.org didn't even bother. It's just like, why is this even on change.org? So, to me, look, I agree Rotten Tomato and Metacritic deserves this criticism, and I don't disagree with that, though. But I just don't think it's well worth it just sign a petition to shut it down. I really don't. On top of that, now we have a counter petition asking that petition to be shut down on change.org. It's like, to me, it's like, oh my God, do you people have lives? Is this really important? And I really think this, to me, makes, regardless of whether you're a Marvel or a DC fan or something, it makes you look bad, okay? Look, I don't think that there is a conspiracy theory against, DC films or anything like that, though, okay? I will agree that there is some criticism, the fact that people need to stop treating DC films like they are Marvel films, okay? They are both two different styles and both different approaches, and you got to approach each one differently. Hell, I mean, it's the same thing with movies or genre films, okay? I'm not going into a genre film expecting that it's going to be an Academy Award-winning movie. I mean, I didn't go in when Deadpool came out expecting that Ryan Reynolds is going to play the same Ryan Reynolds I remember from Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place, that old TV show. God, I feel old remembering that. Or the character he played in the movie The Woman with Gold. Okay, I'm not going into Deadpool expecting that. Much like if I'm going to see The Woman in Gold, I'm not going into that expecting Ryan Reynolds is going to play Deadpool. Okay, I will agree there is some. And bottom line is this: I will agree there is some criticism against some of these critics and Rotten Tomato and Metacritic, though. I do agree with that, and I do think a lot of these film critics need to stop treating movies like every single one of them is going to be an Academy Award-winning movie, or going to be like, Saving Private Ryan or Schindler's List. No offense to Saving Private Ryan or Schindler's List. I enjoy those movies as well, but I don't expect every movie is going to be like that, okay? That said, I'm not a fan of this change.org petition. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not against change.org, but I just don't support this petition at all, or the counter petition. I think they're both stupid, and I think they're both a waste of time in my view, though. All right. Okay. So anyway, this concludes part 2 of our video, though. When we come back, we are going to go to part 3, and I'll be talking about FireForge, file for bankruptcy after they just released their Ghostbuster game 3 days later, though, and what this means and why I think the franchise in general, in my opinion, why I think it's poisoned at this point, though. All right, so we'll take a break and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of our video, and the third part we're going to be talking about, our last part that is, I'm going to be talking about the studio FireForge Games, which just recently filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Now, I haven't know much about the studio. I think they may have developed several games, I think, for the PC or something like that. But what's recently caught my attention is the fact that they had recently, though, if I'm not mistaken, let me see if I can get that up there. According to this article that was reported on Kotaku, but is on RGM, I'll have a link to the description, though. Recently, the game was only developed in about 8 months. Wow, that you can't even, right? And are basically in $12 million in debt, and supposedly they had problems with their own games that they were working on as well. I'll have a link in the description, though. I think it's also reported from Kotaku. Take it how you want to, whether you agree with Kotaku or not. So while it's true that this studio has its own problems, I also think it also points out another problem as well. And to me, putting aside its issues that FireForge had, I have to say the other problem is that, to me, this franchise, I think, has now been poisoned. I mean, it's really that bad of a situation, though. I mean, it feels like that. No, I mean, it's sad that what happened to the development team, but at the same time, it feels like it's reaching a point where I don't think anyone wants to touch this franchise anymore. I mean, it's become so polarizing. It's gotten to the point, as I said in one of my videos, the My 2 Cents, the Ghostbusters controversy, check that one out, though, is that it's like no one wants to be caught in the middle of the crossfire anymore. No one wants to be caught. I mean, if you criticize the movie, you're going to be called racist, a sexist pig. But if for some reason you actually enjoy the movie, and again, that's your opinion and your opinion alone, you're suddenly being called a progressive, evil progressive, liberal, SJW whatsoever, which I think is rather insulting, considering that there are plenty of liberals and progressives out there who do not share the same views of folks like Andy Sarkeesian or Brianna Wu or Paul Feig or Amy Pascal. Yours truly is one example of those. I mean, after all, I am liberal. I do have liberal views. I do have progressive views. And even I think how they handled this movie was pretty bad, though, all right? But it really is sad, though, because I grew up with Ghostbusters. I grew up with action figures. I grew up watching the original movies. And yes, I still enjoy the second one, though. It may not be perfect, but I still enjoy it. And watching the cartoon, including the Extreme Ghostbusters, which I also enjoyed as well. And, of course, the video game that came out in 2009. I played the Wii version when that came out, and surprisingly, it's one of the few Wii games that actually plays well, though, all right? But it's just sad. This is sad. I mean, it's become so polarizing that it's gone to the point where no one wants to touch this franchise anymore. And I don't think anybody wants to get involved in this because suddenly they're going to be attacked on both sides on this. Oh, I mean, it's really, really bad. And as I said before, I'll say it again, though. I agree the racist and sexist comments have added fuel to the fire. And I think they should, and the people who defended those who made those comments should be called out and should be ashamed of themselves. Doesn't matter if you're a writer, blogger, or YouTuber as well. But at the same time, I will agree, and this is someone who's, a left of center / liberal / progressive person, Sony does deserve blame out of this. Okay, I won't ignore that, though. I mean, they were the one who started the fire, and the thing is that I would have given this movie a chance. I really would. I would have given this chance on a take on a classic franchise and see how well it does. But the reason why I have not gone to the theater to see it or anything is that I don't want to be caught in the middle of the crossfire. I don't want to be caught in the middle of this, and where if I say something about this, whether it's good or bad, I'm suddenly either going to be called a evil liberal person, which I think is downright wrong, and I think that's bullshit, though, or a racist and sexist pig, or in any way. And it's just really, really sad. You know what's even sadder, though? I think that even if this movie turned out to be actually good, even if that actually happened and this movie turned out to be good, as I hope for any movie does, or anything like that, that won't change the fact that you bank the entire movie on a controversy as your only means to sell this movie, though, okay? And while in theory that may sound like a good idea at first, banking it all on a controversy, though, at the same time, sooner or later, people are going to look through the smoke and mirror, and when they realize that controversy is your only means of what you're selling, and you have nothing else outside of just using controversy and shock value, they're gonna go someplace else with what's worth their time, or money for that matter, though. But in either case, it basically when the only thing you have is controversy as your only means to really sell what you're trying to sell or present what you're trying to present, though, then that's it. You don't have anything else. That's all you have. Then either way, to me, I feel that I can't see how you're going to push through a sequel. I mean, you already burned so many bridges at this point. I really can't. And, you know, I'm just going to go back to the old Ghostbusters. I'll just have nothing to do with this one. If you guys want, if those who enjoy this movie want to go with that one, fine. But I'm going back to the old Ghostbusters, and I'm just going to stick with that. Or even the IDW comics that I think stay true to the original one, unless they do a new one. Hell, I'll watch Extreme Ghostbusters and the real Ghostbusters over this new one any day. All right. Anyway, this concludes my video. And again, these are my opinions. What are yours? Do you agree with me on Suicide Squad? Do you think it was as bad as critics claim it is, or do you, like me, didn't think it was as bad as people say it is? Were there issues with the movie? Were there weren't any issues? Were you okay with it? Were you not okay with it? And what about the Change.org's Rotten Tomato? Do you agree with the decision to have a petition to shut down Rotten Tomato? Or do you think it's a waste of time? Same with the counter petition. And what about FireForge going out of business, though? Do you think they deserved it after the release of Ghostbusters, the video game? Or do you think that they were at the wrong place at the wrong time? They became an unfortunate victim of what's going on with Ghostbusters lately. Do you think Activision deserves the blame for this as well, since they're the ones that published the game in the first place, though? Do you think Sony deserves all the blame as well for how they've handled the situation, or not? Or do you have a different take on all three stories that I talked about? I mean, two of them, and one with my thoughts of Suicide Squad. As always, sound off on the comment section. Let me know what you think. And, of course, I hope you hit the like button. I would really appreciate it if you do, though, although I have no control over that in any way. Feel free to share this video if you want to. That would be great. The more people who watch it, the better, though. And I do hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Would really appreciate it if you do, though, okay? So, I mean, after all, I'm doing this for my free time. I'm not really making any money off of this, though. Wouldn't mind, but right now I'm not. I'm not, and that's fine by me, though, okay? Alright, anyway, this concludes our video, though. Hopefully I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully it will be another video game review. I'm sort of working on it. Get back into the groove on it, though. Alright? And I hope you guys enjoy the video. I hope to see you again next time, though. It's almost evening here in Southern California, and I'll see you again next time when I do another video. Bye!
To the good old days when the mama sang us to sleep, but now we're stressed out. Wish we could turn back time to the good old days when the mama sang us to sleep, but now we're stressed out.
Used to play pretend bunny. We used to play pretend, wake up, you need the money. Used to play pretend bunny. We used to play pretend, wake up, you need the money. Used to play pretend, give each other different names. We would build a rocket ship and then we fly far away. Used to dream of outer space, but now they're laughing at the face, saying, wake up, you need to make money. Yeah.